With the first new Alien movie in almost a decade coming out, I've been rewatching them all. While I was working on my timeline, I thought about the big gaps in the timeline. Between Alien 3 and Resurrection, for example, we skip over 200 years. Now, there are a lot of tie-in books and comics which fill in some of the gaps, and I remembered that a few years ago, I did a series of videos covering one of those comics. Prometheus, Fire and Stone. This comic is essentially a sequel to Prometheus, but it takes place 125 years later in 2219, making it post-Aliens and Alien 3, which took place in 2179. It even references the events from Aliens, so it helps tie the lore together between the prequel and the originals. With the Alien franchise returning, I figured people might be interested in these videos, especially since they aren't covered in my timeline, and I originally published them when this channel was a lot smaller, so I'm thinking most of you haven't seen them. Anyway, I re-recorded them, polished them up, and consolidated them here into one video to get the whole Prometheus Fire and Stone story in one place. We'll jump into it in a minute, but first, I may not be in school anymore, but around this time of year, I always remember that feeling of back-to-school shopping. I always felt like a character in an RPG equipping all the best items for a big quest. What am I equipping this year? Raycon's best-selling everyday earbuds. They are super comfortable, they never fall out of my ears, and I wear them pretty much all day. One of the first things I do when I wake up is grab my Raycons so I can be entertained during my morning routine, and that includes some loud stuff. Grinding coffee beans, making a breakfast shake, including frozen fruit, so that blender gets really loud. With Raycon's everyday earbuds, that isn't a problem, because they now feature active noise cancellation. Nothing gets between me and my favorite podcast, Tell 'em Steve Dave. And when my girlfriend, who totally exists, starts talking, I switch to awareness mode, which amplifies the sound around you.
You are amazing, Gil. You make the best timelines.
They also have an active ergonomic design and multi-point connectivity, which means I can pair with two devices at once. I can easily switch from editing videos on my laptop back to listening to the podcast on my phone. Click the link in the description box or go to buyraycon.com/onetake to get 20 to 40% off your Raycon purchase. Now, back to the video. January 12th, 2219. Clara Atkinson, a documentarian, has just woken from 2 years of cryosleep and begins filming their journey. First, she tells the floating camera about their ship. The engine core vehicle, Geryon, carries 3 others: command ship Helios, Cadmos, a salvage vehicle, and the patrol ship, Perseus. Angela wants me to record this salvage mission, Clara tells the camera, to document deep space travel in a way that hasn't been done before. Angela Foster is the captain of this mission. She's excited about the mission and tells the camera, "My research indicates this desert moon has high-value salvage, a deep space exploration vessel with a huge payload. We land, we salvage, we go home, get rich, and eat better food." Clara then leaves her captain to her meal of liquefied swampgrass chicken substitute and introduces the rest of the crew. James Weddle, the medical doctor, Francis Lane, astrobiologist. It's his job to look for alien life and help with medical, especially when it comes to synthetics like Eldon. After Clara leaves, Francis speaks to Eldon over the intercom and asks him to reaffirm a promise. "We don't talk about your medical condition, Francis, not to anyone," Eldon says. Usually the condition is dormant during cryosleep, but this time, Francis says, it's getting worse. 2 days later, the rest of the crew wakes up from cryosleep. They enjoy watching Clara's documentary in progress, but with only 3 hours to landing, the captain excuses herself to go prep. In her chambers, Angela Foster speaks to the camera and reveals the true nature of their mission. Yes, they will salvage what's left of a crashed research vessel, but more than that, Angela intends to continue a mission that began over a century ago. She tells the camera, "In 2090, Sir Peter Weyland sent a probe to LV-223. He was searching for something, for a race of people he called the Engineers. He believed they seeded the stars, that they are our creators. In early 2094, Wayland landed here, and Angela continues, he never came back. She intends to complete his mission to discover the true origins of the human species. As the patrol ship lands on LV-223, Chief Security Officer Galgo Helder asks, "You sure this is the right damned address? Because I'm thinking maybe we're knocking on the wrong door here. I mean, are you all seeing this?" Expecting to land on a desert planet, Galgo is shocked to find a rainforest. While the crew looks in amazement at the unexpected jungle, Angela remains focused on finding that salvage site. Things grow stranger when they spot a monkey-like creature hanging from a branch. Meanwhile, James Weddell, the ship's doctor, scans for metal to locate the abandoned exploration vessel. However, he notes, according to Angela's data, it should be around here, but the readings are pure crap. It says metal everywhere. Nearby, another member of their crew spots a pool of oily black substance. Weddell's analysis of it provides few answers. "Pure chaos," he says. "It's like this stuff can't make up its mind what it is." The discoveries continue as Galgo calls Angela over to see something. A killing field full of dead creatures. When Angela wonders what they are, Galgo corrects her. "Look at these claw marks, bite marks, some sort of strange burns. Considering the look of these nasty creatures, I'd have to say our big question is, what the hell killed them?" And Francis, the astrobiologist, along with his synthetic assistant Eldon, analyze the black goo. Francis decides to collect a sample. These scans, they're unreal. It doesn't just have a genetic makeup, it has every genetic makeup, all mixed together. Some I don't even recognize, but others are very terrestrial. And it's aggressive, churning. James was right. This place is science chaos. Eldon insists they leave it. "I don't like it, Francis. Could we leave it alone, please, Francis?" However, Francis reminds Eldon of his medical condition. He needs a miracle, and this stuff might be it. Weddell has also found something worthy of further research. Ants. When he found them, the black ants were outnumbered 100 to 1. Now they are winning. So Weddell takes a sample. After about an hour of searching, they finally find a ship, though it's not the one they were looking for. "Hadley's Hope?" Francis asks. "Wasn't that an outpost on the neighboring moon, on LV-426? Eldon helpfully reminds them that in 2079, 40 years earlier, that outpost encountered a problem with their processing station. "I'll say they had a problem. Damn thing went nuclear, wiped out the whole colony," another member of the crew helpfully adds. Angela and her crew are unaware that the destruction of Hadley's Hope was collateral damage to Ellen Ripley's battle with an alien colony. Angela suggests that perhaps the ship escaped the outpost before it was destroyed. Hoping to find answers inside, she enters an override code into a terminal by the ship's entrance, unaware of the horrors that await her on the other side of that door. Inside the vessel, they find hardened black material covering the walls, and their scanners read life forms. Before a thorough examination of the ship can begin, the grotesque creatures waiting inside reveal themselves. Suddenly, there is a monster above Lucy, which viciously latches onto her. Another crew member tries to announce the hostiles, but is interrupted by a parasite bursting through their helmet, hugging her face tightly. Those with weapons fire on the creatures, freeing the acid blood which courses through their veins. Angela quickly leads her crew out of the ship. Some are wounded by the physical assault, burned by the acid blood, or indisposed by an alien parasite latched onto their face. She shouts over the radio to the ship waiting for her, "We have wounded, hostiles in pursuit, some sort of, damn it." She stops her transmission as the creatures which followed their escape grow closer. One of them quickly approaches a lagging crew member, but security officer Galgo Helder sprays it with bullets. The man, although freed of the terrifying predator, is caught by one of Galgo's stray bullets. Another member of the team assures him they can yell at Galgo later. For now, they focus on escape. The team gets clear of the monsters and reaches what appears to be a naturally formed bridge over a lake. As they cross, Angela orders Traynor, still on the command ship, to evacuate them. He sends the salvage vehicle Cadmos to a landing zone on the other side of the bridge. All they need to do is cross and they'll be home free. Unfortunately, the bridge's integrity is apparently lacking. Loose rocks give way, and Steinberg plunges into the waters below. The team above promises to fish him out in a moment, but quickly they learn more monsters lurk in the dark lake. 3 others join Steinberg in the hellish waters as more of the bridge collapses. Those still above the water fire at the shark-like creatures, giving the men a chance. After the bloodbath, they collect the wounded and board the Cadmos. The captain, Angela, gives the team an update. Of the wounded, 2 are unlikely to make it, and the other 2 have parasites on their faces. She goes on to say that Francis and his synthetic Eldon split off during the attack. She asks for volunteers to go back out there and find them, but first she feels obligated to finally reveal the true nature of their mission. They are here to finish the work started by Peter Weyland over a century ago, to search out beings called engineers, beings he believed seeded life on Earth, the whole galaxy, and maybe beyond that. Now I think that something terrible happened to Weyland's crew too, Angela says. Unbeknownst to the team, an engineer watches their ship from a distance. As the team loudly chides Angela for lying to them and putting their fellow crew members at risk, they are interrupted. Captain Foster, sorry to cut in, but we found Francis and Eldon. They're alive. We have them on the wire. They climbed some sort of cliff, found a cave. Over the wire, Francis excitedly tells Angela of his and Eldon's discoveries. Apparently, a man named Derek Russell survived whatever happened on the vessel from Hadley's Hope. He lived on this moon for some time, and although Francis presumes he is now dead, Derek left behind a wealth of information, notes from his research on the black goo they discovered. Derek calls it an accelerant. Its properties are amazing, universe-changing, Francis says. Derek also left behind a probe which scanned much of the moon. Going through the scans, Francis spots what looks like an alien vessel. According to data on the probes, the vessel crashed, spilling the accelerant onto the dead moon. Just over a century later, the bizarre jungle sprouted from it, along with the strange creatures that inhabit it. Unfortunately, Angela and her team will not be able to land anywhere near the small cave where Francis and Eldon await rescue, so they travel on foot, watched by monkey-like creatures and an engineer. Back at the command ship Helios, the crew members on guard receive a visitor. "Hey, look at that," Clark says. Galgo was right. He said there were ugly monkeys, and that right there, that's an ugly monkey, the other guard adds. "You suppose it's—" Clark replies with a wordless grunt as a sharp tail covered in his own blood bursts through him. The 2 guards are slaughtered as the crew on board the Helios spot the incoming attack. They shut the doors as the creatures screech and pound on their ship. At the cave, Francis assures his robot companion they'll be rescued soon. "I am not scared, Francis. It is good to be with you. We are friends," Eldon says. "Of course we are," Francis says with a smile. "Now we should use this hour on research." He reminds Eldon how this accelerant could change the universe. "It sounds dangerous, Francis," Eldon says. Francis agrees, as Russell's research mentions heightened aggression, twisted growth, and horrific deformities. However, Russell also mentions a way to tone down the mutation and heighten the beneficial aspects. The mixture of this accelerant through something like a construct's engineered blood, Francis says. The healing properties are without limit. Limbs could be regrown, sight restored, cancer banished. Cancer, Eldon, like mine. As Francis speaks, Eldon's attention seems to be elsewhere, the maps on the cave walls. He observes that although there's no seismic activity on the moon, the mountain has been growing. "But I'm sorry," Eldon says. "I apologize, Francis. You were saying something. Was it important?" Looking at the construct in front of him, the one with engineered blood that may be able to filter the accelerant, Francis says, Eldon, I need to ask you a favor. Meanwhile, Angela and her crew happen upon the crashed alien vessel Francis found in the drone's scans. As Angela spots an open hatch, Galgo protests. Shouldn't we be rescuing Francis and Eldon? Wasn't that the point of this little nature walk? Or have you forgotten how to tell the truth about a mission? Shut it, Galgo, Angela responds. I know I screwed up and people were hurt. You think it's not ripping me to shreds? But right now we've got possibly the greatest salvage opportunity in all of history. Galgo, however, ignores her. Something else has grabbed his attention. I think I found a rifle, Galgo says, as he lifts the alien weapon from the floor of the strange vessel. Besides the rifle, they also find containers for the accelerant Francis is currently studying. Accelerant he is about to plunge into his friend's body. Eldon, stay still, Francis says. I don't like this, Francis. It's just a small amount, just a test, Francis reassures. Don't worry, we're friends. I'll only put in a drop, no more than a drop. Francis empties the syringe into Eldon's arm. The effect is immediate. The black accelerant spreads throughout his body. Black veins appear up and down Eldon's arm. He tells Francis that something is wrong, and his words are lost in a blood-curdling scream as the accelerant spreads to his brain. As Angela and her crew approach the cave where Francis and Eldon have been staying, she urges them over comms to stay and await rescue. But they're already gone. The mutated Eldon has chased Francis out of it. He tackles Francis to the ground and speaks to the man who claimed to be his friend.
Hello, Francis. Remember me? I'm Eldon.
Francis tries to apologize. He didn't know the accelerant would do this to him.
You mean you didn't care?
Eldon responds.
I thought we were friends. Was I wrong?
Eldon tears away the remains of his synthetic flesh and tells Francis that he feels smarter now, smart enough to know the truth, smart enough to tell Francis,
even in this infinite universe, there's nowhere to run.
Meanwhile, Angela and her crew continue their way to the cave. They carry with them a canister of the accelerant. When Dr. Weddle asks if it's a good idea to bring along the dangerous black goo, Angela reminds him how valuable the substance may be. Then she refocuses them on the mission. Everyone, listen up. We are not here to engage any alien life forms. This is a search and grab mission. We search out Eldon and Francis, and then we grab them. Simple. As Galgo grins at the prospect of testing out his recently acquired alien rifle, Angela reminds him to try not to piss off any monsters. Back on the Helios command vehicle, two crewmates enjoy coffee stolen from Galgo's bunk. Suddenly, a monster appears in the window next to them. A crewmate barges into the hall and warns the others. There are 6 of them outside. They radio Angela, and she orders them to seal all the doors, ensure nothing goes in or out of the ship. Then she informs her team they are abandoning their rescue mission for Francis and Eldon. Their new mission? Rescue the Helios. As they run in the direction of the Helios, Galgo's helmet is shattered as an alien monkey slashes his face. His crewmate clutches the monkey's grotesque appendage and shoots it in the face. When Angela checks on Galgo, he reassures her, "It's nothing, ladies love scars." As the crew gathers themselves, they detect a fast-moving, human-sized life form. Finally, they are reunited with Francis. Angela quickly notices he is alone. "Where's Eldon? Isn't he with you?" "He's chasing me, trying to kill me," Francis explains. "What the hell for?" Galgo asks. "He's gone crazy, mutated. I injected him with some of that accelerant and..." Furious, Angela scolds him for injecting an unknown substance into a crew member and has him arrested for misconduct. Francis is baffled. "What? No, he's just a construct." Angela disagrees. "He's a member of our crew. He trusted you, and now we can't." End of story. Returning to their mission, Angela announces a new plan. They will lure the aliens away from the Helios using a surveyor vehicle as bait. As they make their way toward the Helios, Angela assures them, "We can do this, people. We're brave, strong, and we have all the power of the Weyland-Yutani Corp behind us." Reaching the Helios, they find the threat has grown worse. "What now, Angie?" Galgos demands. I mean, I didn't do much in college past stealing beer and pretending I wasn't the father, but I think that's more than 6. Angela quickly devises a new plan. Galgo will take a small crew to the other ship, the Perseus. They'll fly over the Helios and use concussive bursts to knock the aliens off the ship without directly attacking them. That way they avoid damaging the Helios with stray bullets or the acid blood which the aliens carry inside them. As Galgo and the small crew with him make their way to the Perseus, he hears movement nearby. Approaching cautiously, he spots a towering humanoid figure which seems to be carrying something. Although Galgo does not know it, he's just seen an engineer. Shaken, he returns to his crew. The engineer, seemingly unaware of his observer, drags an alien carcass to an already impressive pile. Meanwhile, Angela and her team spot a visitor approaching the Helios. A barely recognizable Eldon approaches the door, unbothered by the monstrous creatures surrounding it. In fact, as though recognizing some kinship with them, he offers assistance.
Are you having trouble with the doors? Here, let me open this for you.
He enters a code into the keypad, and moments later, the hellish creatures board the ship. Eldon cheerfully greets the humans inside.
Hello, my name is Eldon. It's good to see you.
After several attempts to reach Galgo, Angela finally gets through. Galgo, damn it, why weren't you answering? We need that bird in flight. Situation has gone sour. She tells him what happened to Eldon and how he let the creatures into the Helios. Then she asks for an ETA, and Galgo responds. Yeah, about that, Captain. We took a vote. We're in flight already. We can see this stretch of LV-223, and the whole damn jungle's alive down there. Those creatures are everywhere, coming out from their holes, coming out from the lake, coming out from God knows where. Thing is, we got out. It's too much of a risk to go back. Angela can hardly believe it. Is he joking? No joke, Angie. I could go into a whole philosophy and give you a long talk that would undoubtedly piss you off. But this time, for once, I'll keep the story short. Good luck down there, and goodbye. Alarms ring throughout the Helios, and an announcement is made telling the crew to evacuate, seek refuge at the alien crash site. The Helios has been compromised. Eldon is to be considered dangerous. The voice continues. Do not engage the creatures. One of the crew members fails to heed the warning and uselessly fires his pistol. He and his crewmate are promptly and violently devoured. Watching the Helios from a distance, Chris thinks of her wife trapped on board. She looks to her captain. You think they can make it? Yes, Angela responds. We're trained. We know how to handle this. Springing to action, she requests evacuation from Traynor, currently manning the engine core vehicle still floating above the planet. At the Helios, several crew members manage to escape on wheeled buggies. The aliens follow, using tree branches to attack from above. Much of the crew is slaughtered, but some survive, including Chris's wife, Jill. The two briefly enjoy a reunion before Angela shouts for them to get into the wreckage. The team notes that the creatures don't seem to like coming near the crashed alien ship. They're no longer being followed. But Chris shouts, "We can't count on that lasting. Hurry!" Once safely inside, Angela radios the engine core vehicle again. "Traynor, really going to need that evac." He responds, "We're working on it, Angela. Still refueling from grabbing the wounded. Give us 30 minutes. Traynor is unaware of the threat which has boarded his ship. Galgo and two of his crew draw their weapons. Sorry, but if Angela makes it out of there, makes it home, we're dead men. The man to his left adds, court-martialed, dead, same thing. Angela is a witness to Galgo's desertion. She can't be allowed to escape. The crew begs for their lives. Then Traynor speaks his last words. Hold on, we can talk about it. Over the radio, Angela and Clara hear a gunshot, followed by more gunshots. Galgo took the Perseus, and now he's taken the Geryon. That leaves only one more ship on LV-223, one more hope, the Helios, a ship teeming with alien monsters led by a rogue synthetic. Rather than dwell on their ever-fading odds of rescue, Angela leads her team further into the alien craft. They need to keep moving and stay safe in case those creatures finally decide to come aboard. Following light at the end of a hallway, they enter what appears to be a large laboratory. Dr. James Weddle quickly understands where they are. Wayland was right. This is an engineer laboratory. Whoever works here, they're not studying life. They're making it, controlling it. Before they can explore further, 5 blips appear on their radar. 5 quickly becomes 10, then 20. And whatever's after them isn't human. Angela shouts for the team to move fast. They make their way through a dark corridor until James realizes Clara is missing. He runs back to the laboratory and yells for her. She responds, "This is an alien laboratory. I have to document this." He disagrees. They have to get the hell out of here. But it's too late. The creatures are no longer blips on a radar. They are here. With James and Clara left behind, Angela continues leading the others through darkness. They hold hands to ensure no one is separated. However, one of those hands is no longer attached to a body. The creatures attack. Alien tongues and tails rip through human skulls, and explosions of blood rain as Angela shouts for them to run. Those who aren't too busy dying do exactly that. Still in the engineer laboratory, Clara and James hold each other while they prepare to meet a similar fate. As drooling mouths filled with rows of razor-sharp teeth grow closer, a red light appears, drawing the monster's attention. An engineer approaches the creatures. It shows no emotion as they surround him. The engineer activates his rifle and easily dispatches the creatures. Clara runs to their savior. Thank you. My name is Clara. This is James. Those become her last words as the engineer turns the rifle on them, too. Still aboard the Helios, Eldon stares at a poster that reads, "The universe is infinite. Take a friend along."
Friend,
Eldon mutters, then angrily tears the poster down.
did that startle you?
Eldon asks the monsters around him.
Don't worry, you're my friends now. We need to remember that.
Eldon leads them into the ship's control room and continues.
I have to find Francis. I can still feel that needle going into my arm. I can feel it.
As he pilots the Helios and takes off, Eldon asks the creatures,
Would you like to watch me kill my friend?
He takes off toward the Geryon, where his friend Francis is with Galgo. And with that, all 3 ships are gone. Stranded on the surface of LV-223, Angela and her remaining crew, now just Chris and Jill, run for their lives. They head toward the cave where Francis originally discovered Derek Russell's research notes. On their way, Angela finally decides to get rid of the accelerant she's been carrying and throws it into the lake. They arrive at the cave and Jill panics. Where are the others? We can't be the only ones who made it. Her wife comes to her aid. Calm down, Jill. It's okay. Angela announces that she's broadcasting their position. Hopefully someone will find them. There, see? Chris says. We'll make it through this. Angela adds, someone lived alone in this cave. There are 3 of us. We're trained and we are not going to give up. We just have to find a way up there, or hope somebody can come down here. In the meantime, we make do. That won't be easy, Chris points out. This place looks like hell. Got a plan? For now, we'll wait for things to calm down, Angela responds. Maybe some others will make it here. If not, we'll go looking for them. Right now, I'll stand watch, and you see about making this place look less like hell and more like home. She steps outside to see the stars, the vast space between them and home, and she looks at the surrounding hell of LV-223, uncertain of what comes next. And that's where it wraps up. Though Prometheus Fire and Stone is actually just one of 5 chapters in the broader Fire and Stone series, which bridged across franchises. Prometheus was first, but it was followed by Aliens, Alien vs. Predator, Predator, and finally the concluding chapter, Prometheus Omega. The first time I released this series, I made the mistake of promising I'd cover all the remaining chapters, and I never did. So this time I'll just say I might cover them. Maybe when the Alien TV show comes out, it could be a fun way to celebrate, or when the next Predator movie comes out. Either way, there will be more Alien content in one form or another, so stay tuned. With that, thank you for watching, and see you on the next One Take.